All right, all right, all right. What we need y'all to do right now is get up, bring the energy, because it's time to start the Sisaundra Show!
Sisaundra Show, and happy Monday.
Happy
Listen,
Monday.
I hope y'all had an amazing weekend, and to all the fathers, I hope you had an amazing Father's Day. I sure hope y'all got that gift that y'all say y'all don't ever get, right? Did you get the gift that you never get, guys?
We never get it.
Oh, come on. Come on. Listen, but y'all, we have an amazing show for you today. And baby, we are going deep. So you know what we need you to do? We need you to get all comfy, grab that bubbly beverage, and let's get this show started. Let's get it started. Yeah. Woo! Listen, so y'all already know what time it is, right? This isn't your normal news segment. This is We the People, where the truth hits different, the question goes deeper, and the commentary, baby, it is unapologetically real. So let's get into it. All right, so President Trump's crew bragged about 250,000 patriots marching through the rain for the United States Army's 250th anniversary. In actuality, they were expecting, yes, about 250,000 people to show up to watch this. Y'all, they even dropped a God Bless the USA on X, formerly known as Twitter. But drone footage told a whole nother story. Bleachers were bare, sidelines looked like ghost towns, and local hotels weren't, I said weren't, that's the contraction for were not, even full. Meanwhile, the No Kings protest popped off in over 2,000 plus cities with millions of people marching. The gag? Officials called the protest a failure, but reality check. Those parade pics look real quiet, everybody is saying. Say what you want, the cameras don't lie. All right? So, all right, family, this conversation is just getting started. You've heard the headlines, you've seen the footage, and now it's time to go a little deeper. Joining us for this powerful discussion is a man who doesn't just talk about change, he fights for it day in, day out. A fierce community advocate, a respected voice in policy and justice, and someone who's never afraid to challenge the system when it's out of line. Y'all, please welcome back to the show the one and only Mr. Russel Drake. Woo! Come on, Mr. Drake. Hey!
For the culture, for the culture,
Hey!
for the culture.
Hello there. You're here for Thank you so much. It's great to see you.
Wonderful to see you.
Please have a seat.
Wonderful.
It looks like you got something in your hand.
I do. I have a gift from you. I have my first edition of my Women's Entrepreneurs Build Black Daily shirt for
love
you.
It. Build Black. I got to take it out of here. How do I take it out? I love opening gifts.
Yes.
Especially gifts with such incredible purpose. Y'all check it out. Build Black. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I'm flattered too by the size. It fits.
Yes.
All right. Let's have a seat, please. Thank you again for joining me. We have so much going on. We needed to talk to you today.
Let's do it.
All right.
Absolutely.
So we know the numbers don't lie. Everybody has seen the pictures, but numbers don't lie. Some say politicians sure do, though.
My.
When you saw those empty bleachers, what did that say to you about the actual support behind this parade?
Yep, I think most people felt it was unnecessary, that it wasn't worth their time, that a lot of nations that are dictatorships have these military parades and people are forced to attend, and forced patriotism is, of course, fascism, and we don't have that in the United States of America. Even those who may support President Trump felt that they didn't need to come out there.
So even his supporters didn't show up.
No.
Some of them did, but for the majority of it, a lot of people didn't. I believe that the support and the respect for our Army is real, though.
Absolutely.
I mean, 250 years that we are grateful for the Army's service, but everything behind it, the comments I was reading were more about, well, it's on his birthday. It is really more for an ego than it is to support the Army. So people chose to go out and support the No King protest.
Absolutely. And you're right. We support our military. We love the work they've continued to do for 250 years.
Yes.
The way to honor them is to ask what they'd like and probably give them benefits and medical care for life.
That's
Things
what
like
I was
that are
reading, too.
what
You
people
have
need along the way. And you're
very
right. We did have
accurate
No King's Day protest because we feel this president has disrespected the Constitution over and over and has not followed it in any sense. And this is not a dictatorship. He's let out more executive orders than any president in U.S. history, and he's only done that in a few months. He continues to do that, and we continue to sue him and, of course, win the lawsuit. So that means these are unnecessary things he's doing. He's trying to operate like a dictatorship. Again, this is no kingdom. This is no monarch. This is a republic.
This is a republic, correct. So over 2,000 cities, this No King protest was it just erupted all over the place. Do you think this movement is being underestimated on purpose, or is it just too threatening to the vision of this administration's America they see?
I think it's a little of both, because you see the overwhelming amount of people and even people that potentially voted for the president out there at the No King's Day protest, and they're disgusted, even across the state of Florida, where we had over 40 protests that we know of ourselves in the state of Florida.
Goodness
Keep
gracious.
in mind, there are only 67 counties across the state.
So the majority of the counties decided to protest.
Absolutely.
So some sheriffs, Mr. Drake, are calling protesters terrorists and threatening violence. What does that tell you about how law enforcement sees the people they swore to protect? Or are they being forced to see the people that way, or just do their jobs?
I think it's a bad police culture that some agencies have. And we see the head of them out there literally threatening people and saying inflammatory language, talking about that they'll literally kill people. It's a sad thing to see.
Yes.
And
very.
People are protected behind the badge. Anybody else who didn't have that badge that came out and made comments of that sort would probably get arrested right now just for threatening people. And it's a horrendous thing to see. I do think the sheriff, main one in Brevard County that made inflammatory comments,
Goodness.
It's in question because Brevard's not even in the top 10 largest counties in Florida, and nor can we confirm that there were even protests out there. So while
So
it
was he
sounds
just trying to
good,
get attention like Grady Judd does?
Absolutely.
Because,
getting a rouse out of people. And I mean, how many places outside of maybe Cocoa, maybe Palm Bay, maybe, but other places in Brevard County, they're not having anything like that.
That's very interesting. But I mean, look at the governor. Didn't the governor even give people permission to run over people if their cars were being... There
is a House bill that was passed 2 years ago that said people can run over people if they feel like they're in danger at protest. And the thing you have to remember is the law works both ways, because I could feel like I'm in danger and run over some people if something looks like a protest too. So we haven't seen that happen yet, but it works both ways. So keep playing around. It will happen, my friends.
It will, but I forget what city, state it was back when, this group of people were marching and running over people with cars. Remember when that happened?
It was in Virginia.
In Virginia.
Charlottesville.
Yes. Now, they ran over someone. Didn't they kill someone? What was the outcome of feeling threatened in running over people or anything like that?
The person was arrested and jailed for it. And actually, the reason they put that in Florida is because they saw that happen, and they didn't want anybody who may be in support of people running over people to go to jail. So they put that in our bylaw, in our Constitution here.
So I believe that also gives them the right, they reserve the right to decide how that person's going to be prosecuted too. So perhaps if one of the people like in Virginia did something like that, they could get them off. But say one of us do that and they don't like the way we look. They don't like the way we talk. They don't like the way we move. That same freedom they gave you to do it can also come back to haunt you.
It can, it shouldn't though, because again, the law works both ways. If you made it so that people can run over people if they feel threatened, you don't know how Sisaundra feels threatened or Russell feels threatened.
Correct.
Or anybody else feels threatened. So all I have to do is say I felt threatened, so I ran over all these people who had on these white masks or
And you
had
can
these
get
cross
off.
stickers. That's all. That's in theory.
So this is my question too. When this happened to Trayvon and Zimmerman said he felt threatened and he killed this kid, has there ever been any other situation where this kind of scenario happened, but the person didn't get off, the stand your ground? This kind of makes me feel like the stand your ground kind of thing. I can run over you because you're in my way. I feel threatened. I can shoot you because I feel threatened. I'm standing my ground.
Yeah, the self-defense and stand your ground is very subjective. And unfortunately, people are using it as shields instead of just saying what they really want to say. You want to attack people that look vulnerable. You want to attack teens. You want to attack the elderly. You don't want to attack somebody who's 6'4", 270 pounds.
Right.
Looks like they could take that hit from a car and maybe bust your car window out. So you pick, they pick on people who look vulnerable, and they don't pick on the persons who may potentially give them what they want.
And with that being said, we're going to take a short break. I have Mr. Russel Drake here with me. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the ICE raids that are going on around the country. Don't y'all go nowhere. This is a praise break for ya. Sisaundra Show. Y'all, I am sitting here with Mr. Russel Drake. He's an advocate for the community, making sure that we are aware and giving us some insight on what's going on around the country. So from ICE raids to parade propaganda, is this about patriotism or about power? Who's really being served here and who's being silenced, Mr. Drake?
All right, so let's look at it. President Biden deported a number of people. In the administration of President Obama, they deported a number of people. It's all in how you do things. And you can do things with some grace and integrity. Right now, it's being sensationalized and people are picked on. People are picked up. I mean, you have people who were working, who've been all outrage. To me, it almost looks like a movie. I was like, I don't even believe this is happening in these United States of America. That should not be occurring.
No.
So it looks really bad. I think it's done, one, to support his base in their everything, ethnocentric xenophobia across the board, and push people out. And then you, in addition to the ICE raids, you see people who previously supported the 47th president now saying, I can't believe he's doing this. We got our people to come support you. How could you do this? And the whole time we said, he's gonna do it. He said he told you what he was gonna do, and he's doing it.
Before he was elected,
yes, he did.
He said what he was going to do. Project 2025 was very clear that it was something that would go into practice as soon as he went to, and people still didn't feel motivated to go out and vote. No. It's very interesting. So let's talk climate, Mr. Drake. Not weather, but the political temperature. Do you feel like the country is reaching a boiling point with these protests versus parades narratives?
I don't think we've completely hit the boiling point. I think we're at the point where people feel awakened, and we've seen some special elections where there have been some change across the board. The thing is to not just be in it for the moment, be in it for the continual movement.
Yes,
so we
not
have
the
to
moment,
continue
the
to
movement.
Move the needle.
Yes.
You said over 2,000 protests across the nation that we know of.
Yes.
And it's like we should be doing more to educate people, in Florida in particular. Make sure people get back on the rolls for vote by mail, because everybody got knocked off December 31st. And people don't even know that.
Yep. We do need to know that. Yes. So December 31st, the vote by mail, everyone needs to re-register?
Yeah, if you traditionally vote by mail, you have to sign up to do it again. Every 2 years, people have to sign up now. That was legislation that got passed 2 years ago as well. And a lot of people don't know that. So we need to keep rallying people to take action. It's good to show up for the protests, but we have to put it into action so that we don't have these policies in place and push these people out of office. In 2026, it's major elections happening across the state of Florida and across the nation. We have to be able to mobilize people and let them know your vote matters.
Yes.
If you're disgusted with this, you have to show up for the poll.
Do you think people get that now?
Some people do. Not everybody does.
Really?
Not everybody. Experience has showed me that a lot more people like making noise than coming out and
and putting your signature on that line.
Yeah.
So the No Kings message, it cuts really deep. Do you think America is waking up to the idea that we've been loyal to institutions that were never loyal to us?
I think so. I think a lot of people are getting that message across, and they're embracing it. And I've seen, a lot of good things on social media. A lot of times I'm disappointed with what I see on social media.
Yes.
Now I've been seeing a lot of, I think, proactive messages, and people are understanding that we have been systematically suppressed and put in a bubble and thinking that it's just one way or two ways of doing things, and not understanding that the power really lies with the people.
Yes.
It's not just with the institutions that have been put upon us.
Very good stuff. That is so true. We have the power. We just need to exercise it. Stop giving our power away, right?
That's it.
So y'all, TikTok tears versus the Trump vote. A South Florida woman broke down in immigration court begging for her undocumented dad's release. The twist, she once voted for President Trump. Now she's owning her past. I was brainwashed. She says she's reclaiming her culture and calling her vote the ultimate betrayal of her people. The internet's dragging her for the switch up, but she's standing 10 toes down, using her voice now to fight the same system that she once supported. Hard lesson, your vote has a body count. That's amazing. I think we were kind of touching on this a little bit about how people who voted and supported are realizing that the loyalty is not there for them, and their families are being deported. And it really hurts. It's hitting home, as they say.
Yes, it does. They were bamboozled. And many people get bamboozled in different elections across the nation, local elections, state elections. And in the national level for president, it really hurts when you see things like this. And it's disappointing because so many people were warned and so many people, they were one issue voters. So they said, I want to vote because I'm proactive with weapons.
Right.
I want to vote because I'm proactive with keeping young men out of women's sports. And that they were only looking at those issues. They weren't looking at the biggest thing that's going to impact them. And that's different financial and policy impacts. Here, when this budget clears from the U.S. Congress and U.S. Senate and President Trump signs it, there's going to be a lot of things that fall out of it, particularly Medicaid and Medicare, that's going to affect
You mean
millions.
the quote-unquote big, beautiful bill?
Oh, yes.
That he and Elon have been fighting over?
Yes.
Wow.
And when that falls out, you're going to see a lot more people say, I can't believe it. Now I'm not able to stay in this senior facility anymore. Now I'm not able to get this medical help anymore. Who's going to help me? And nobody's going to be able to help people. And then it's going to be hard lessons that are carved out. And it's set up so that the rich get richer, the middle class dwindles, and that it's more of a lower class. It is interesting, though, that I just saw the president over the weekend say that he doesn't want to deport too many more people who are farmers.
Correct.
Because you're starting to see the impact on those businesses that these people have been here working steadily. They've been doing the work
that we don't want to do, or at least the work that we used to do. My family was a migrant family, so the Hispanic and Latino community that is taking over the citrus, just per se, they're doing that work now, whereas before we were doing all of that work. So they're coming in and doing jobs a lot of us don't do anymore. And now they're being shipped out, and those jobs are being done by whom? No one. They're trying to change the age in the state of Florida alone so they can get young people to work at a younger age to try to cover these jobs.
Not only lower it, they want to change the amount of hours they can work per week.
Yes.
And say they can work as late as they want. It's dwindling down public education.
Correct.
So that it's not as relevant, and having people work earlier.
Do you think that's why they're shifting the public education to the states opposed to it being federal, so that they can have more control in these areas of work and time and all of those things for young people?
Absolutely. The goal is to stop putting the money and supporting them. If you've looked 30 and 40 years ago, there's a lot of support that came from the federal level and trickled down to states and local, and you had education that was going well. And then as they started siphoning it out and taking those dollars, putting them to private and charter schools, it's less accessibility.
Correct.
You have less accessibility. They're not even able to sustain so many educators. So across the state of Florida, a number of educators are getting laid off right now.
Yes.
And
yes.
It's tragic.
A lot are getting laid off and a lot are quitting. Because of the new policies in place, they find it very difficult to work alongside kids who they grow and care about, and then they can't have conversations with them. They can't read certain books. I mean, some of the teachers that have taught my children, I see them now in question as to if they want to return in the fall. So it's a lot. It's very interesting. So this lady that voted for Trump, she now says she was brainwashed, but should ignorance be a valid excuse when your vote helps keep families in cages and kids in courts?
No, it should not, because people are selfish when they're thinking that way. You're only thinking about one thing because of your own ignorance. You didn't think about the millions of people who be impacted. You thought you were safe because of your melanin complexion, because of your background, because of who your representative was, and not realizing that injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. And you voted for it, so no, you don't get a pass.
Wow.
Everybody's at the age of recognizance when they're 18 or older. Their vote counted, and they just have to take it on the chin. And I think it's good the way she fell on the sword and came out and said, I'm in the wrong.
Yes.
And she's owning it.
Yes,
the
she
people
is.
that are coming at her, it's like a cult mentality. They keep trying to pull you back in, and they don't look
And it's
both
like,
ways.
no, I see it for what it is. And I mean, she's using her voice now, but her dad is still locked up. What do you say to people who want grace for her while undocumented families like hers are still suffering in silence?
Yeah, I say we got to keep it moving.
We just got to keep it moving. You basically said there's no forgiveness to ignorance. It is what it is. You still have to be held accountable, right?
You have to.
So with all of that being said, we did have we had an unfortunate 2 assassinations this weekend that were politically inclined. That is insane. Where are we? What kind of nation are we turning into?
First, our condolences go out to everyone affected, those families.
Condolences.
And it's very sad. I think we're in a situation where we see hate spewed every day by the top leadership. And when you see that, people take it upon themselves to do radically hateful things. And sadly, with the terrible things that have happened, people aren't even owning up to the issue of it all and what caused this man to do this tragic thing. They're just trying to point fingers at what party is responsible.
Correct.
And it further hardens the hatred that's been spewed by the leadership, and it's sad.
It is very sad, and I wish we had more time to talk about this, but we don't. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. With all of our viewers, God bless you all. Thank y'all again for joining us. We'll be back here tomorrow for The Culture.
All right. Thanks so much, y'all. Come on, everybody get up. Come on, come on. And just scan that QR code at the bottom of your screen, because we got so much more exclusive content for you right here only on the Sisaundra Show.